Now I have these different lists. You'll see I have Jackson at the groomer, and it's just a normal task. This little icon right here indicates a normal task. I have Costco, which is a checklist, and you'll notice that I have a little checkbox here, and the number 1 badge alerts me to the fact that I have 1 item on my Costco checklist. And then let me come down here, and you'll see that I have my webinar that I've just created. You'll see it has a little project icon, and the project icon indicates that this particular task listed here is a project, and at this point in time I have 1 subtask that's part of my project that is due. A nice thing about the project feature is what ends up happening is that if there's a due date for the project, you can have a separate due date for the entire project versus each individual task. And that's important because, for instance, if I come back in here and I do my webinar, if my webinar isn't due until, let's say, next month's webinar is going to be on the 24th. So if I tap on the 24th and come back here, my webinar is due on the 24th, but I don't really need to have my PowerPoint. I have to have it done before the 24th, obviously, but I don't have to have it done today. So I can actually come here and choose a date, a different date for having the PowerPoint done. If I wanted to add another task, I'm going to tap the plus sign up here. I'm going to add another normal task, and I'm going to include send out emails. And I really want to send the emails out pretty soon because I want people to register for the webinar. So I'm actually going to put that as maybe the 1st of February, and I'll close that. So now you can see my project, which is the webinar itself, is going to be due Friday, February 24th, but I want to send out email on Wednesday, February 1st, and I want to create my PowerPoint starting on Wednesday, February 8th. So that's kind of how a project works. I use this application all the time. As you can see, I have lots of things here, and I tend to use it on an everyday basis many times a day to try and keep track of my schedule. Okay, then let me show you about lists just a second. I'm going to come back to my PowerPoint presentation real quick. So we talked about how to create to-do items. I will show you Quick Add in just a second, but we've talked about how you can add a normal task or a project, a checklist. If you want to add a call, a contact, email a contact, you just simply tap those and the field will pop up and you'll just enter that information. So going back to the Making Cognitive Connections approach, part of what we're doing with this is we're paying attention to detail. We're potentially categorizing because we need to make sure that we're assigning things to the right list or color, which we'll talk about again in a minute. Planning is important because I have to sort of look at when I have a project, when the project is due versus all the other aspects of the project and when I need to have the individual tasks completed. We're talking about decision making, time management, sequencing, and relevant and irrelevant information. Let me come back to the To-Do app for just a second. The Quick Add icon is right here. And basically what the Quick Add allows you to do is to simply enter a new task very quickly, but all you're doing is entering the task. You're not at that point able to assign all the specifics. For instance, I'm just going to put test here. And if I hit enter at this point in time, it will just add that particular item. You'll see that it's added it right down here. It adds it for today's date. And then if I wanted to go in and edit it, I could simply just tap on it and go in and add all the specifics or the details that I need to add.